Good evening and welcome to the news from NTA's Top Table. For the next hour and a half, we'll be in different parts of the country, tracking developing stories with our lenses trained on Nigeria and Nigerians as the nation and its people confront challenges with resilience and the future with gusto. Tonight, INEC says it has no power to punish those who jump the gun to campaign ahead of the 2027 general elections.
There is no sanction whatsoever in respect of breaches for campaigns earlier than 150 days.
Vice President Kashim Shettima identifies key areas of concentration to address the skills gap in key sectors of the nation's economy. More states access Rural Electrification Intervention Fund with renewable energy at the forefront of the initiatives. Bring down the fences and trade as brother to brother. Former President Obasanjo tells African nations at Intra-African Trade Fair. And on business, we will stay with IATF, with Nigeria winning the best stand for doing business at the event. While in sports, we will be spending some time to console Badia Deleye after the Super Eagles saw their hopes of qualifying for the next World Cup go up in smoke in South Africa. It's a loaded package, but don't take my word for it. After all, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. I'm Yenri John. This is News Extra. Welcome. Let's set sail tonight as Vice President Kashim Shettima has called for collective action to actualize the administration's skills acquisition drive, saying the era of working in isolation is over. The Vice President shared his thoughts during the 7th meeting of the National Council on Skills at the Presidential Villa. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
The skills revolution is one of the promises of the Tinubu administration to Nigerians. Vice President Kashim Shettima at this meeting charged relevant stakeholders to unite in ensuring that every Nigerian acquires the skills needed, commending Kaduna State government for setting up and chairing the first council on skills, describing it as exemplary, urging other subnationals to follow suit.
The era of operating in silos is over. We must move towards a new, streamlined workflow that embeds collaboration directly into the process of curriculum development and funding. This new process isn't just for our own convenience. It is for the ambitious artisan in Kaura Namoda seeking certification, for the mid-career worker in Ebute Meta needing to reskill, and for the technical colleges across this nation that need funding to become true centers of excellence.
And the way to go is skills in Nigeria. That's the only way we can be able to address the issue of unemployment, empower our youths so that they can be gainfully employed. We have a lot of deficit in the area of skills in Nigeria, and that's the reason why the investment in the area of skills by the federal government is unprecedented. There's no government from Nigeria that have invested in the area of skills. That is very government, and I feel it's highly commendable.
Recently, you heard us release a new curriculum, which is heavily focused on skills. We've streamlined it with a clear emphasis on 6 skills that will be done at junior secondary schools and secondary schools. And these are skills that have been mapped to the needs of the country.
At the end of the day, Nigerians have skills. Nigerians have something to do. Nigerians have work ab initio before even coming out. So as you're growing up, you're growing with skill, and then the Labour Ministry will not have barrages of unemployed people.
The Kaduna Vocational and Skills Development Institute recently admitted over 30,000 students, part of stronger commitment to ensuring that the council achieves its established goals, particularly in job creation. From the State House, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
And away from the State House now, cheering news for Nigerians, you may say. as the House of Representatives engages 2 cabinet ministers on the 2024 to 2025 budget cycle towards addressing obstacles hindering smooth release of appropriated funds. Let's hear more from a National Assembly correspondent, Muhammad Rabiu Ali.
Stepping into the People's House are the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, and that of Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, as well as the Director General Debt Management Office, Tanimu Yakubu. The engagement went on a closed door for hours, centered around reviewing the implementation of 2024-2025 budget. Thereafter, key actors briefed the media.
The projects that touch the grassroots, that provide support and provide resources and facilities, the roads, irrigation, other infrastructure projects at the grassroots level are focused on and are given adequate attention and priority. And it's an ongoing discussion, it's an ongoing implementation of the budget faithfully and fully.
Members of the National Assembly restated their appreciation of all the achievements under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and they commended the respect for the National Assembly and the excellent working relationship between the federal government, and they restated that they have supported all the major reform initiatives which have produced the result, including the latest tax reforms.
Basically, members are concerned seriously about that, and Minister of Budget and Minister of Finance also confirmed to us that Nigerian can see a lot of changes and developments for this budget. And let's see how far we can go.
The 2 arms of government pledged to work together in ensuring that the 2024-2025 budgets are fully implemented to meet the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians. From the National Assembly, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
At the Intra-African Trade Fair in Algeria, former President Olusegun Obasanjo had a message. Africa must unite to achieve the Africa we want. He told global and trade leaders that rhetoric is no longer enough. Only concrete action and political will can deliver integration and real development across the continent.
Can we trade more among ourselves? How much do we know of what we produce? We need to go back and make sure that we manage diversity very well, so that we have inclusivity in our management of diversity.
Former Frexim President Benedict Rama struck a similar tone, stressing that Africa cannot grow trade without tearing down the barriers that still hold businesses back.
The infrastructure available in Africa, the stock of infrastructure, carries today about $1.4 trillion of trade. The problem is, or the question is, why is the African trade share of that just 200 to 300 billion? Why is it not 700 billion? So the Inter-African Trade Fair provides that opportunity to begin to break down the information barrier, which was caused by the fragmentation arising from colonialism.
Comfort Amodi reports that harmonizing policies and cutting red tape are some of the recommendations coming out of IATF 2025, pushing that the continent be ready not just to trade, but to thrive. And away from the economy, let's talk electoral matters now, as a premature campaign ahead of the 2027 general election is a major security threat and a dangerous signal that must be addressed through Constitutional and Electoral Act amendment. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu and Professor Atahiru Jega raised the concern at a round table organized by the Electoral Institute in Abuja. Mie Ogide reports.
16 months to the February 2027 general election, and campaigns expected to start 5 months to the polls, but election mood already activated. Campaigns not on major city podiums, but in ways that beat the Electoral Act. Premature campaigns, mostly through third party. Some of the best brain in the nation's electoral system meeting here at the Electoral Institute, Abuja. One agenda, addressing the challenge of early campaigns. The question is, who is to blame?
Ironically, some of these elected and appointed public officers are responsible for the premature campaigns.
Again, what constitutes a campaign? When the government is commissioning a project and he praises himself, and when the opposition too organizes their own rally to oppose any program of the ruling government, is that also a campaign? When you don't know people that are doing many posters on your behalf, so who do you hold liable? Is the party or the person?
This question exposes some weak sections of the electoral legal framework and dismasks Mahmoud's mood in acting to address the situation.
The major challenge for the Commission is the law itself. Sections 94(2) and 3 of the Electoral Act imposes sanctions who engages in campaign 24 hours before polling day. However, there is no sanction whatsoever in respect of breaches for campaigns earlier than 150 days. And here lies the challenge for the Commission in dealing with early campaign by parties, prospective candidates, and their supporters.
Like an elder brother, Professor Tairu Jiga, once on the hot seat as the #1 man of INEC, offers some recommendations.
All candidates and their parties, and especially incumbent office holders and their political parties, should be vicariously held responsible and penalized for premature campaigns for them by third parties. EFCC and ICPC should pay special attention to third-party campaigners and thoroughly interrogate their sources of funding.
While the anti-graft agencies carry out their operations to curb premature campaigns, amendment of the Electoral Act and the Constitution remain the permanent solution. Mie Ogide, NT News.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party has expressed displeasure over what it described as an attempt to bar Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan from resuming in the Senate after serving his 6-month suspension. In a statement, PDP's National Publicity Secretary, Debo Olugunagba, faulted the reported action of the clerk of the National Assembly, which, according to the opposition party, is a calculated move to silence Akpoti-Uduaghan and deny the people of Kogi Central their right to representation. The party says such action not only violates the 1999 Constitution as amended and the standing rules of the Senate, but also poses danger to democratic governance and national stability. In other news, ahead of Nigeria's 65th anniversary, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, has inaugurated an interministerial committee to plan and execute activities marking the independence celebration. The SGF notes the occasion as not just about celebrating the past, but sharpening the future. Shehu Muhammad Dati has all the details.
Representatives from government ministries, departments and agencies gathered for a historic meeting ahead of Nigeria's 65th anniversary on October 1st, 2025. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation and committee chairman charged members to uphold prudence, accountability and dedication for a successful celebration.
This anniversary is not just a date on the calendar. It is a reminder of where we're coming from, acknowledgement of where we are, and the vision of where we are going from here. As a nation, we're first challenged in some areas and we have overcome them.
The anniversary lineup includes a World Press Conference, Jumu'at and church service, public lecture, and presidential broadcast.
We intend to celebrate in grand style the birth of our nation The struggles, the victories, resilience, and to renew the underlying hope that we all share as citizens of this great country.
A TV series was unveiled at the SGF's office, kickstarting the 65th anniversary activities. In Abuja, Show Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
The federal government is working towards removing all glitches against seamless digital payments and e-commerce to ensure citizens seamlessly transfer money using their mobile phones and other devices. Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, Ibrahim Hassan Hadija, disclosed this during the Stakeholders Roundtable, where he reiterated the resolve by the Tinubu administration to drive financial inclusion using different strategies for different digital payment infrastructure that would essentially reach the last mile, enable the government to gather enough information and data to make a case from its perspective in regulation, infrastructure, including enacting laws to ensure most of the issues that have been stagnating e-commerce are addressed. The Principal Research Fellow, International Economic Development Group, Dr. Max Mendes-Parr, says the organization had been working with the African Continental Free Trade Secretariat and other African countries on digital trade on a wide range of coordination of the negotiations of digital trade protocol. Special Assistant to the President on ICT Policy, Salisu Dasuki Nakande, revealed that the project came into light 2 years ago with the support of the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, to make payments in a seamless way across board. Elsewhere, until the common man stops complaining, leaders in the country must continue to work to address their concerns. Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu said this during the third quarterly meeting of RHI state coordinators, where she unveiled a national competition, Renewed Hope Initiative, Green Nigeria Challenge, to promote clean and green environment across the country. State House correspondent Adeniyi Taiwo reports.
State coordinators and other foot soldiers of Renewed Hope Initiative are here again for their high-level quarterly meeting, the third for the year. This time, their brief revolves mainly around the launch of Green Nigeria Challenge, a national competition designed to promote green and clean environment, which the national coordinator of RHI and Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu unveiled at the meeting. Divided into 3 categories, the competition will see households in 11 frontline northern states participating in tree planting with a 20 million naira cash prize to be won.
I discovered that some households do have trees, but they are not many, and they need that coverage to curb the certification.
Other 2 categories at communities and state levels will address key environmental concerns, including plastic waste disposal.
Community category, open to all youth groups, NGOs, CBOs, whoever, to plant trees and clean up degraded areas. The prize money for this group of youth is 50 million. And then the state category, tree planting and also turning a state into a green state. We visited Enugu. They are exempted from the competition. They are designated as a model green state with a cash prize of 100 million.
She announced upcoming events, including the launch of Flow with Confidence campaign, slated for October 2nd and 3rd in Gombe State.
I have 200,000 naira each to 250 persons living with disability across the 36 states and FCT. And this will come to a total of 9,250 persons to benefit. 10 digital economy centers fully furnished with ICT equipment to be virtually commissioned in the following states: Abia, Delta, Edo, Lagos, Nasarawa, Ondo, Kano, Katsina, Yobe, and Zamfara. The Environment Club for senior secondary school students, because it involves them going around the state to clean up. And the Environment Society for students in university and tertiary institutions.
You know, the thing to keeping the state clean is not just by giving instructions, it's also by being very proactive in what he's been doing. It's more like seeing things, picking it up, you know, like moving around, going on inspections. So that has actually helped greatly in making Enugu State clean.
We're very grateful to Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for all these tireless efforts and bringing all these innovations to bear in all the states. And we're trying our best to make sure that it gets to the grassroots.
The First Lady called on RHI state coordinators to redouble their efforts in ensuring that more Nigerians benefit from ongoing interventions in their states.
From the villa to their various states, another seed of empowerment sown, and from planting a green garden to co-creating green communities. The desire of Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, to promote climate-friendly environment is again taking off on the back of a national competition, the Green Nigeria Challenge. Like others before it, the competition offers Nigerians at state and community levels the incentives to plant trees, fight deforestation, and ultimately build greener tomorrow. In the State House, Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
Many thanks, Adeni. Great initiative there. It's News Extra. There's more news in a bit. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. The immediate past Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, Mele Kyari, is now in the EFCC net, having submitted himself to the Commission for investigation. Mele Kyari honored an invitation to clarify the alleged financial and technical issues relating to his tenure as the head of the National Oil Company. A confirmed report says Kyari's appearance is connected to the ongoing investigation into the alleged $7.2 billion refineries turnaround maintenance project, which has long been a subject of public scrutiny and allegations of mismanagement. The Commission recently placed Kyari on its watch list, intensifying the spotlight on his stewardship of the oil giant. The development came days after the Federal High Court in Abuja ordered a temporary freezing of 4 bank accounts linked to Mele Kyari over allegations of fraud and financial impropriety. The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has refused the bail application of the Defense Counsel to the 5 suspects allegedly involved in the 2022 attack on St. Francis Catholic Church, Owo, Ondo State, southwest Nigeria. Chukwunonso Wambweze reports that the 5 suspects are facing a 9-count charge bordering on terrorism preferred against them by the federal government.
The trial judge, Justice Emeka Nwite, while delivering the ruling, stated that after due consideration of the 2 sets of affidavits for and against the bail application by defense and prosecution counsel, held that the character of evidence against the applicants are very strong. That considering the serious nature of the offense, the defendant applicants are charged with the nature and character of evidence against them. The respondent, which is the prosecution, has made a strong case of a likelihood of the applicants running away from justice and with no possibility of them being reapprehended, considering their connection to foreign fighter linked to the Al-Shabaab terrorist group. Justice Nwite further held that there is a strong belief that the defendant applicants will interfere with prosecution witnesses and undermine the effective and successful prosecution of the case, and in the process undermining the criminal justice system. He emphasized that he was not unmindful of the provision of Section 36 sub 5 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, which provides that every person who is charged with criminal offense shall be presumed innocent until proven guilty. This, the apex court stated, does not necessarily prejudice the presumption of innocence of the appellant of the charge brought against him until contrary is proved, but at least it tries to ensure avoidable interruption of the trial. And having carefully considered the affidavit evidence and the proof of evidence available before him, at this point in time, the judge held that the prosecution respondent has succeeded in raising a reasonable presumption of criminal responsibility on the part of the defendant applicants, consequently refusing the application.
We are happy with the judge for agreeing with our position
that terrorists or terror suspects should not be allowed to roam our society. And the reason is because we have witnesses that we need to protect, as well as the fact that they may abscond if they are allowed to go out on bail.
We always look at it from two faces. Whichever it comes, they know more than us. That's why we call them the wisdoms. But remember, the matter has not finished. We are just starting.
The matter has been adjourned to the 16th of October 2025, with every likelihood of an accelerated adjudication. Chukunonsonwa Bweze, NTN News.
And away from the courtroom, the FCT Mandate Secretary for Women Affairs, Dr. Adedayo Benjamin Lani, has declared enough is enough in response to the rising cases of child abuse, abduction, gender-based violence and torture. This declaration was made during a joint rescue mission with the FCT Police Command, where 2 young girls aged 3 and 8 were rescued after being subjected to torture. Hawa Gimba reports that the FCT Police Command has taken charge of the case as a part of renewed efforts to protect vulnerable groups and ensure justice for victims.
The fight against abuse and gender-based violence in the Federal Capital Territory has received a boost following a joint rescue operation by the FCT Police Command and the Secretariat for Women Affairs. In a mission that lasted 4 hours, officers of the FCT Police Command, working alongside the Mandate Secretary for Women Affairs and the Director of the Child Department, stormed a residence where children were allegedly being abused. Dr. Benjamin Lani stressed that the administration will not tolerate any form of child abuse, adoption, and gender-based violence, assuring that every case will be pushed to a logical conclusion.
From the FCT, we are saying enough is enough. Today's incident that has now brought about this collaborative intervention and rescue of this 8-year-old girl child and her baby sister and the Commissioner of Police, we were able with his team and the OC Gender to effectively coordinate that intervention, which took over 4 hours to gain entry and rescue of the said victim.
A family man that abducted the child, leaving the child not being cared for, leaving the child and then going out, lock her up. In fact, he has to drive the wife out.
We are investigating the whole issue to ascertain why will the man behave in such way. But our advice now to women and members of the public there is they should always speak up.
The joint effort signals a renewed commitment to ensuring that Abuja remains safe and secure, especially for children and women who are most at risk of abuse and exploitation in Abuja. Hawa Gimba, NTA News.
We head to Kano now. To tackle the challenge of out-of-school children in Nigeria, the National Commission for Marjorie and Out-of-School Children's Education has engaged key stakeholders to develop strategies aimed at securing a brighter future for millions of young learners. The engagement, held during the Commission's maiden annual general meeting in Kano, is part of efforts to complement the renewed hope education agenda of the current administration. Fatima Sanusi Karaye reports.
Opened with a clear charge to find practical solutions for the millions of Nigerian children still outside the formal school system. Executive Secretary of the Commission, Muhammad Sani Idris, said new frameworks are being developed to help states integrate Al-Majri and other out-of-school children into functional learning structures.
Our belief is that when Al-Majri is allowed to continue without understanding, to continue to offer a curriculum that negates the understanding of the Arabic language, that child can easily be exposed to acceptance of ideologies that are inimical to our existence.
The Ministers of Education represented at the event stressed the need for unified policies, reliable data, and strict accountability to drive down the national out-of-school children population.
We want to ensure that whatever form of learning, schooling they are in proper schooling. They have their curriculum properly integrated with formal schooling.
The Kano State government announced measures including classroom expansion, teacher training, and integration of Almajiri schools into mainstream education.
We are ready to partner, to own, to adopt, to scale up as appropriate any initiative coming from your agency.
Participants later broke into syndicate groups to draft resolutions aimed at strengthening collaboration between federal and state governments in tackling the out-of-school children challenge. In Kano, Fatima Sanusi, RI, NTA News.
Let's now bring you an update on our running story on the plight of a homeless man. And NTA's Najatu Tijani has been following the travails of this weather-beaten Nigerian whose hope of survival dwindles with every drop of rain in his location.
He sits alone in a corner, an old umbrella and tattered clothes his only defense against the elements. Nothing has changed since NTA visited this unknown citizen, whose only hope for food includes passers-by like this vendor who takes pity on him. Cold, soggy in the rain and facing health challenges, including a swollen leg which has rendered him immobile, his weathered face tells a tale of sadness and many struggles.
Come rain, come sunshine, the man whose identity is yet unknown but who residents in the area say hails from Ondo State is always in this location.
As the rain pours down, the homeless man clutches his umbrella tightly, forced to live on the fringes of society. His swollen leg a sad reminder that he has no one to care for him. Having no voice, it remains for well-meaning and kind-hearted Nigerians to become his voice and lift him out of this present predicament. Will this story have a happy ending? Najatu Tijani, NTA News.
Many thanks, Najata, for staying on that, and we hope that the relevant agencies will pick up this story and do the needful. Over 500 women in Ogun State are beneficiaries of a free cervical and breast cancer screening, as well as lumpectomy, courtesy of the Uplift Development Foundation, a project of the wife of the former governor of Ogun State, Mrs. Olufunsho Amosun. Lekon Agbonde reports that this exercise, which is the 14th in the series, is part of Mrs. Amosun's contribution to women's upliftment and empowerment.
From the World Health Organization reveals that more than 19 million new cancer cases and almost 10 million deaths are recorded globally each year, with breast cancer being the most commonly diagnosed worldwide. To redress this trend and reduce the alarming statistics, the Uplift Foundation is taking the lead in championing advocacy, awareness and screening exercise, with over 10,000 patients benefiting from various interventions spanning the 14 years of the program.
Go for the screening and look for treatments are available now for nearly all forms of cancer. The drugs are available now.
We have had survivors of cervical cancer, but the most important thing was that they presented early. They came in when the cancer can still be controlled.
For this year's exercise, over 500 women in Ogun State are undergoing screening and possible lumpectomy in case of detection, while the initiator of the program, Mrs. Olufunsho Amosun, says the Uplift Foundation remains committed in the effort to facilitate increased screening for women across the state to ensure early detection and treatment with the help of her husband, Senator Ibikule Amosun, who provides financial intervention.
Malignant lumps will be sent off for histology and further investigation. In recent editions, Uplift has had to sponsor a few chemotherapy treatments for patients in dire need.
The engagement provided a platform for participants to increase their knowledge about cervical and breast cancers. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
And still on health, the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, says Nigeria is undergoing bold and unprecedented reforms under the current administration, setting the stage for a stronger and more prosperous future. At the GATE CEO Roundtable, Nigeria In-Country Patient Access Workshop in Abuja, Professor Pate highlighted key policy shifts, including the removal of fuel subsidy and electricity subsidy, monetary reforms, tax reforms, and the automation of local government revenues. He said these measures are already beginning to bear fruits by boosting government revenue and creating conditions to attract greater investment into the country. Professor Pate explained that these reforms are expected to fuel faster economic growth, moving Nigeria from its current 3.4% growth rate toward 6.7% year-on-year in the coming years. He noted that the country has the potential to achieve President Bola Tinubu's vision of a peaceful, prosperous, and people-oriented nation. Professor Pate urged visiting executives from global life sciences companies to pay close attention to the challenges unfolding in Nigeria over the next 5 to 10 years, describing the country as where to be. He stressed that the government is committed to improving governance, strengthening health systems, and expanding access to healthcare through initiatives like increased health insurance coverage.
If that was reduced, it's a subsidy really on electricity was taken out, the tax reform, but also the local government autonomy. 5 very significant reforms that are poised to enable this country have the revenue and to attract the investments that will fuel further growth, where we are 3.4%, hopefully 6%, 7% year on year over time. And if we continue in that path, Nigeria's economy will grow faster in the years ahead.
Past 2 years, I want to say that this collaboration has deepened, right, under the leadership of the coordinating minister and his team. For an organization that is really interested in working side by side to governments to introduce and scale evidence-based innovations that reduce deaths from vaccine-preventable diseases, improves maternal and newborn child and nutrition outcomes, as well as improving the delivery of quality primary healthcare services. This collaboration is actually a very important one for us that we don't take for granted.
All right, it's time to pause again. There's more news shortly. Glad to have you back. The Nigerian Independent System Operator, NISO, has attributed the system disturbance which resulted in loss of power from the national grid to tripping of a generation company. The incident, NISO says, resulted in significant load drop that cascaded to other generation companies, leading to system disturbance. NISO also says restoration of the grid has commenced immediately with supply to Abuja from Shiruru Power Plant, and substantial restoration has been achieved across the country. Investigation has commenced with outcome to determine proactive action to forestall future occurrence. Now, Nigeria has entered the new phase of the electricity market, with states now allowed to participate in generation, transmission, and distribution. This abundant renewables, the Rural Electrification Agency, is wooing states to leverage the initiative and light up communities as well as power their economies. Joshua Odito reports that more states are keen into the initiative, with Akwa Ibom State as the latest partner in the Energy Mix program.
Akwa Ibom is among states in the country that have established their electricity market with an ambitious target to close the energy gap in the state.
Akwa Ibom stands at the forefront of Nigeria's new electricity era.
It found Rural Electrification Agency as a partner in achieving adequate electricity in the state, and REA came with a basket of interventions that the state can take advantage. Distributed access through renewable energy scale-up DES, EHAT, among other programs, REA says are available for Akwa Ibom State to explore as the agency mobilizes renewable energy developers to the state.
As we are implementing the 750, already 190 million from Japanese International Development Corporation is has been approved. We also have gotten a tentative commitment of the Ministry of Power and Finance for additional funding of about $265 million for the implementation of eHeart program.
It is within our collective will and capacity to have projects in our state move from concept to commissioning within the next 12 to 15 months. We are ready as a government to provide land, expedite permits, ensure regulatory clarity through our various agencies, facilitate access to finance, and we will want to be your partners in every sense of the word.
The people of Nigeria are asking for progress. They want to see light in their homes, energy in their schools and hospitals, and reliable power for their businesses.
The target of the federal government is to provide electricity through renewable energy sources to more than 17 million people across the country, and this can be achieved with the support of state government. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
In other news, the president of the Nigerian Institute of Building has scored Gombe State government high on the quality of infrastructure provision across various sectors of the state economy. Emmanuel Lakila reports that after an inspection of project sites in the state, the president, in company of other national officers of the institute, charges builders in the country to insist on strict compliance to the code of the profession while carrying out any building project, as doing so will curb the problem of building collapse in the country.
The entourage first port of call is the 3-arm zone. This is one permanent site where the Gombe High Court Complex, the Gombe State House of Assembly, and the State Secretariat are being constructed. The delegation also visits the multi-billion-naira Muhammadu Buhari Industrial Park, the Dadinko hydroelectricity power plant, which currently adds 40 megawatts of power to the national grid, and the newly constructed Gombe College of Nursing and Midwifery, among other projects. Back at the Deputy Governor's office, the President, Nigerian Institute of Building, commends the state government for ensuring compliance to standards in the construction of the projects they see.
Gombe State, apart from wanting to do the infrastructure development, is also taking to the right people are doing the job, that is the builders. So we are really grateful to have come here, and we tell the Excellency congratulations for doing the right thing.
For us, a structure may just be a structure. But now that they have told you that every requirement has been met, that they have checked the papers, the books, the manual to do the constructions, and that the manual is being followed, and that they are even satisfied that the contractors will meet up with the deadline, give us a credit that we are doing the right thing.
Recently, he spent over 7 billion naira to build a general hospital in Kumo, which, because of the level of equipment, the building that was put in place, the federal government graciously converted it to a federal medical center.
The delegation was received at Government House by the Secretary to the Gombe State Government, Professor Ibrahim Abubakar Njodi, on condolence visit to the Gombe State Government to sympathize with their member, the Director General of the Gombe State Joint Project Development Agency, over the demise of his wife. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
And away from Gombe, we head to Lagos, where the federal government says it will commence the process of a robust interface with all stakeholders to ensure proper reconstruction of Lagos-Carter Bridge, which is in dire need of maintenance. Larry Gbele was with the minister for comprehensive inspection of the underdeck of the bridge.
Minister of Works with structural engineers from different construction companies were at the underdeck of Carter Bridge for a comprehensive investigation on the pie caps and piers to have a first-hand knowledge of the critical situation of the bridge and to also see how the ramps can be salvaged as a means to minimize the financial implications of the reconstruction.
The situation of Carter Bridge is so critical, and it seems that all stakeholders have agreed that Carter Bridge is irredeemable. But what we did today is to see whether we can salvage the ramps so that we cut down the cost of construction and the time of construction. That decision we could not take. We need the consultants and Beja to put the observation, and we have instruments we use to determine whether the observations are right or wrong. The next 2 weeks, we are coming for final inspection of the Kata Bridge. That notwithstanding, various experts have been deployed, and you will be hearing from us the final determination of this matter.
David Umahi also assessed the extent of the damaged parapet wall at the Adeniji Adele Decompile.
The minister, however, expressed his displeasure over a tradition that is ongoing among Nigerians. That is, when Nigerian commuters and traders use the bridge to conduct their livelihood. He said the bridge is not meant for static loads, and in saying the federal government will do everything in its power to erase this ugly tradition. In Lagos, Lanre Bileyi, NTA News.
Let's pay attention to other news now. Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, and the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI, are working closely to explore new ways of building innovation and technology by utilizing expertise and skills of Nigerians living in the diaspora and those at home. Chairman, NIDCOM, Abike Dabiri Erewa, in a strategic meeting with the Executive Vice Chairman and CEO of NASENI, Khalil Suleiman Halilu, described this collaboration as a timely intervention. Deborah Bala Wubu will tell us about it.
This collaboration will foster opportunities for Nigerians everywhere to work together for Nigerians' progress, especially under the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
We believe that with this, when we do meet the diaspora, we expect it to be a permanent part of our engagement with the diaspora, so they can market this to them immediately, and there should be no even going back or coming back.
Both NIDCOM and NASENI agreed to set up a joint working committee to streamline areas of collaboration and design projects focused on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEMs, alongside other diaspora engagement. In Abuja, Deborah Balagubo, NT News.
No doubt the law is no respecter of anyone. So once the law is broken, justice must be served. But what happens in the case of a first-time road offender? Pardon or punish? Here is Oyeyemi Ajayi with a special report on their fate.
It's that time of the year already, the Ember Month. No doubt, this moment requires care and caution, but for different reasons. For many, the myth of evil forces tend to be on rampage comes to play. But for the Federal Safety Corps, it's time of high vehicular movement. One major step the Corps has made as a stand against road traffic offenders is the inculcation of mobile courts to prosecute offenders. But many ask a major question: what is the position of a mobile court for a first-time offender?
Now, for example, here is Mr. Emeka, a first-time offender, arrested for a series of offenses ranging from seatbelt use violation, driving under the influence of alcohol, overloading, amongst others.
The defendant is hereby convicted of the aforementioned offences.
As the court pleases.
Do you have anything to say before a sentence is passed on you?
He prayed the judge to temper justice with mercy, but the voice and position of the law remains louder.
This sentence shall not only reflect the seriousness of the offence, as the defendant posed a threat to the lives of his passengers and other road users by driving under the influence of alcohol, but to also serve as a punishment to the offender and to serve as a deterrent to him and to others who may contemplate committing such obscene offences. Consequently, the defendant is hereby sentenced to pay a total fine of 65,000 naira for the traffic offences so committed. In addition, the defendant's driver's license shall be suspended for 6 months, starting from today's date, being the 5th of August 2025. This is the judgment of the court.
As the court pleases.
Well, the reason why we brought about the mobile court issue is because we believe that the mobile court is more civil, it's more transparent, and the offenders too, or the drivers, so to speak, have the opportunity to appear before a judge. Unlike just us issuing you with a ticket and you just go and pay.
So as it is, justice has no face, so it is a respecter of no one, irrespective. It must be served. While on the road as a driver, caution must be made while driving, as the weight of the law awaits any offender and the gavel ready to hit. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Many thanks, Oyeyemi. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. Towards protecting the rights of air travelers and improving customer satisfaction, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, announces that it will soon begin to name and shame airlines that consistently flout aviation rules, particularly those that delay or cancel flights without due process and adequate passenger support. Aliyu Kabir has the details.
The persistent issue of flight delays and cancellations has raised significant concerns among passengers and aviation authorities in Nigeria.
They rescheduled it to 5:20. Earlier before now, I've been here for 4 hours. Here was filled up, upstairs was filled up, and many people, as you can see, a lot of people are sitting on the floor.
The more they give punitive measures to those who err. I have appointment to catch before the bank closes. Bank have closed. The airline delayed us in Lagos. These are things, there should be penalty.
A recent incident involving Bomb Air, which passenger alleged that the airline rescheduled its flights without due protocol consideration. The NCAA interventions to ensure passenger compensation and accommodation, and has called the importance of adherence to these regulations for enhanced service delivery. To this regard, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, is enforcing strict compliance with Part 19 of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Regulations, which protects passenger rights during disruptions. This is to ensure provision of accommodation during delays between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. local time, as well as refunds and compensation in accordance with the regulations. NCAA therefore summoned all domestic airlines to an emergency meeting on Wednesday, September 10th, to address various issues including unruly passenger behavior, unresolved refund and compensation, and enforcement of phone switch-off instructions and protection of cabin crew.
The CAA has also proven its capacity to mete out sanctions and punishment where necessary.
The airline operators reaffirmed their commitment to customer satisfaction while operating within the stipulated guidelines.
When they close airspace for VIP movement, then you have delays. When there are other issues of safety, you have to clear it, you have delays. But I still maintain there's no operator who would want to delay for 1 second.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development says the government is working to modernize airport infrastructure to a world-class standard. He assured that airline growth will be supported while urging operators to focus on service delivery and customer satisfaction.
We know it is not fun also for a private business to be cancelling its flights, delaying its flight. It's not fun on their part. They have a problem, and government needs to look into those problems, try and solve those problems, and then we will now hold them accountable.
With this development, the rights of passengers remain protected, and authorities say they will hold airline accountable to ensure safer and more reliable air travel in Nigeria. In Abuja, Aliyu Kabir, NTA News.
Now, President Bola Tinubu congratulates His Royal Highness Dr. Ofwe Bonnet, the Chief of Kaguru, on his 90th birthday. President Tinubu salutes the revered royal father for his contributions to peace in his domain and southern Kaduna, noting the monarch's commitment to community development, cultural revival, and preservation since ascending the throne in 2008, and praise for his continued good health and strength. All right, Benny has his sheets balanced, and business news will be served after the break. Stay with us.
Good to know you're here at this time, and it's that time we talk business.
Now, ahead of the 2027 edition of the Intra-African Trade Fair, which is to be hosted by Nigeria in Lagos, the latest edition has just ended in Algiers, with Nigeria closing trade and investment deals worth more than $110 million, out of the more than $48.3 billion US total worth of deals closed. Now, the deals are across sectors to include agriculture, industry, manufacturing, energy, finance, research and innovation, in addition to healthcare and transport. Nigeria was also awarded Best Town for Doing Business, recognizing its robust engagement and investor-friendly presence. Additionally, Ogun State received the award for the Most Sustainable Green Stand, highlighting its commitment to environmentally responsible development. This is in addition to Nigeria's Antonia Alabi, founder of Purple Fire Entertainment and convener of the upcoming Africa Live Imagine Top Skit. Well, moving on to business at this time, looking at Minister of Industry John Owen Eno has joined global energy professionals, policymakers, investors, and technology leaders at the ongoing 2025 Gastech Summit in Milan, Italy. While making a presentation on powering growth and prosperity in high-potential economies, Eno informs the world of Nigeria's newly validated industrial policy, which he says closes existing gaps with a bold vision to transform Nigeria into a globally competitive, innovation-driven industrial economy by 2035. And the target is to raise industry's share of GDP from under 10% to 25% by 2035. Eno adds that this is anchored on 7 strategic pillars, from diversification of output and infrastructure for productivity to green industrialization and trade-driven growth under the AFCFTA. The policy also targets high-potential sectors, including manufacturing, agribusiness, petrochemicals, ICT, solid minerals, and construction.
We have a challenge in terms of empowering our universities. I sit here as a minister in charge of the university.
And looking at the market at this time, Nigerian equities market ended midweek trading in green as investors smiled home with 360 billion naira closing deals worth 707.6 million, shares valued at 40.640 billion naira. Today's data shows 16% improvement in volume, 225% improvement in turnover, but 2% decline in deals. The current market capitalization is 88.8 trillion naira, and on the aggregate, 127 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 37 gainers and 26 losers. That is it on business at this time.
Many thanks, Benny, for that update. Let's also inform you that the federal government has stated that allowing partial rice importation is not to undermine local production, but to mitigate the impact of high food costs resulting from the removal of fuel subsidy. The Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Atiku stated this in an interview with NTA, emphasizing that the administration is supporting local producers to be competitive within local and international markets.
5 years ago, Nigeria set agenda to produce enough rice to meet the country's demand and export the surplus. The initiative was designed to be achieved under the National Rice Development Strategy. 5 years into the journey, key stakeholders including farmers, processors and marketers converged here to review progress made so far. Officials from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, along with development partners, presented their success stories and challenges.
Over the past few years, Nigeria has recorded remarkable progress in rice production. Yields have improved through better agronomic practices and adoption of improved seed varieties.
The Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Atiku, stated that Nigeria is on the right track.
All policies that have been undertaken by President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu successfully to change the structure of our economy so that all those in domestic production, what they are producing is competitive and can be sold elsewhere in the world.
An NTA investigation shows that the prices of unmilled and processed rice have dropped by about 50% across the country. However, farmers are raising concerns that this development is not commensurate with the cost of production. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
In other news, the Sultan of Sokoto and President General, Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Muhammad Abubakar Saad III, has bestowed the prestigious traditional title of Kakaki Daula Usmaniya on Peter Igbo, a former executive director, programs at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, reaffirming his unwavering commitment to supporting the organization's vital role in fostering peace and national development. This was during a courtesy visit by the NTA Veterans Reunion Steering Committee to the Sultan's Palace. Abdullahi Umar Ilalu reports.
Anticipated NTA Veterans Reunion is to celebrate the past, reflect on the present, and chart a new path for the future of the NTA. At the Sultan's Palace, chairman of the steering committee and former NTA Executive Director Programs Peter Igbo, who led delegation of the veterans, recalled some of the landmark programs produced in the past that assisted in promoting peace and national development. The committee solicits blessings of the Sultan ahead of the reunion scheduled for coming Friday and Saturday in Sokoto.
We must work together to begin to produce content to promote where we've come from and wherever we are doing. The younger ones, unfortunately, do not have the same kind of work ethics that we have. But so we must work with them. We cannot ignore the young ones, but we must not let our experience and knowledge die with us. We must pass them down to the younger ones. So we want to seek your blessings and your support for what we're doing.
Sultan Muhammad Saada Abubakar commended the leadership role played by the NTA, especially in its early years, and currently for uniting Nigerians through purposeful broadcasting, assuring of his continued support.
I don't think you are old. You are not old enough to impart knowledge on the younger ones. And that's what we keep on calling on you. You have just started this journey by being able to come together as a body of veterans. Body of veterans. I know the sky is the limit, and we will give you our total support.
Highlight of the visit was the presentation of the reunion programs of event to the Sultan, who graciously conferred the prestigious title of Kakakin Daular Usmaniya on Mr. Peter Igbo for his selfless service to the NTA and Nigeria. Earlier at the NTA Sokoto Network Center, Zonal Director Umar Bakari acknowledged the veterans' immense contributions to the station and the nation's broadcast industry and called for their continued support to strengthen services at the center and Nigeria at large. In Sokoto, Abdullah Umar Ilalu, NTA News.
The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbertakun, has applauded the Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association, DEPOA, for unveiling a historic initiative that promises full scholarship to children of fallen heroes. He gave the commendation during the courtesy visit by the DEPOA leadership to the force headquarters in Abuja. Francis Fong reports.
In what has been described as a landmark intervention for families of Nigeria's departed servicemen and women, the Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association, DEPOA, has launched a full scholarship scheme designed to secure the future of children of fallen heroes.
We believe that no sacrifice should even go unrecognized, and that the nation must mobilize to save in one unified voice to our security forces.
You are the unseen backbone of our national security. Because without you, without your prayers and support, neither the police nor the armed forces can stand tall.
The DEPOA scholarship program is expected to transform the lives of many children, serving as a lasting tribute to the sacrifices of Nigeria's fallen heroes, while further cementing collaboration between security agencies and support associations. Francis from NTA News.
All right, another break beckons, but there's more news. Don't go anywhere.
It's still News Extra, time to talk sports. Now, with Nigerians still busy with permutations regarding the Super Eagles qualification bid for the 2026 FIFA World Cup in the Americas, the Nigeria Football Federation has dismissed reports suggesting that FIFA has cleared South Africa of any wrongdoing in the ongoing player eligibility saga involving Teboho Mokoena. The NFF insists no official communication has been received from FIFA on the matter, as the news making the rounds was about an unrelated post from FIFA on X platform. South Africa's Bafana risked FIFA sanctions after their midfielder, Teboho Mokoena, was fielded against Lesotho in a World Cup qualifier after receiving 2 yellow cards earlier in the campaign. Away from that, the Director General of the National Institute for Sports, Philip Shaibu, says the institute will train more coaches to be deployed to local, state and federal levels for discovery and development of athletes. This, he says, will be achieved through effective collaboration with the National Assembly for the needed legislation, as well as through the respective constituencies of the lawmakers. The NIS boss also emphasized the institute's commitment to end the quackery in sports coaching, insisting that certified coaches will be allowed to train athletes in the country. And away from Nigeria, let's let you know that former Premier League referee David Coote has been charged with making an indecent image of a child. The 43-year-old was sacked from his officiating role in December after a video showing him making derogatory remarks about former Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp in 2020 came to light. The charge of making an indecent image of a child refers to activities such as downloading, sharing or saving abuse photos or videos. The allegation relates to a video recovered by the police in February. Coote, who was charged on August the 12th, is on conditional bail and is set to appear in court on Thursday. That does it on Sports Tonight. Let's return to you.
Well, thanks, Buddy, for the sports feel. Let's now have a feel of the weather outlook for tomorrow.
Update. We expect moderate rainfall across parts of the southeast and south-south regions. These showers will also extend into some areas in the southwest, including parts of Oyo, Osun, and Ekiti State. Meanwhile, the north-central region should prepare for thunderstorms, which are forecast to extend into parts of the northwest and even some areas in the northeast. These weather systems may be accompanied by strong winds and lightning, so it is advisable to take necessary precautions. Thank you for watching and stay safe. I'm Sefia Senyinusa.
All right, many thanks, Sophia, for the weather update. And that's our package on News Extra tonight. Many thanks for being a part of it. Do have a good night.